What's up, guys? Happy Sunday. Chuck Silver and Smitty here with Occupy Fantasy to bring you the strategy for DraftKings and FanDuel. Pretty good day. Last day of the regular season for the NFL, so that's fun. We have a pretty great showdown game tonight. Detroit, Minnesota. Just finished up the plug for that. It's live on OccupyFantasy.com. Pretty decent 5 game slate today. The games start pretty close to each other, so it feels pretty compact. We got a couple pieces of injury news just now. We're still waiting on a couple, but Smitty, how we doing? How we feel about today?
Doing pretty good. I like this. It's a little 5 gamer. We kind of get most of it over with, and looking forward to breaking it down.
Love it. Heath, what's up, my guy? Love seeing you here early. Douche, yeah, let's get after it. Was it just yesterday that you had a pretty good win, dude?
Yeah, he
What
shipped
was it?
2K, I think, yesterday.
Was that on DraftKings or FanDuel?
FanDuel.
Okay, because I know the douche was trying out DraftKings, mostly a FanDuel guy. Shipped on DK a small one the day before, but had a really good one on FanDuel yesterday. Shout out to you, dude.
Yeah, he's on a heater.
Yeah, heaters are good, man.
Yeah.
Uh, Kadiri, good to see you. Savage Styles, great name. Unicorn Love, yes, sir. And Barry Jones. So we just got news for Charlotte. Why are we getting news for tomorrow? All right, let's take a look at Charlotte first. I believe, yeah, it's the first game on the slate. LaMelo and Brandon Miller are in. Thankfully, we got that news early so we can talk about this game in full. Everyone's projected for pretty low ownership. What do you want to do with Charlotte?
Yeah, in my raw runs, I'm getting basically no Charlotte. You pretty much have to bump them to get any of them. None of them project very well. The one piece that I do like is Mark Williams here. They're going to need his size going against Cleveland. And if you want to play Nick Richards as a deep GPP play, I also don't hate that.
I like it. Yeah, like you said, you just got to bump these guys if you want them. I think they're all fine to get to. Models telling us, especially Mark Williams at 6K, 9.20 OF index is very strong with pretty great value scores too. So don't mind getting over these percentages. We know that he's always going to be projected for low minutes, but he can do a lot in those minutes. Terrible matchup against Cleveland, 17.5 point spread. So I get it. But if they can somehow keep this game a little closer than expected, then that's pretty good. And I have to think LaMelo would have a lot to do with that. So if you want to get to this game, I'd probably consider playing LaMelo as well.
Yeah, I agree.
And Smitty, the humble guy that he is, you shipped a tournament last night too. Forgot to mention that. So congrats to you over on the night slate on DraftKings.
Yeah, appreciate it. I shipped the Night Slate Mini Max.
Even you mentioned to me too, you had 85% Kaminga, and it just happened that one of the lineups without him, Laravia was the key piece under 10%. He went off, but dude, that just it works out sometimes. That's why we stopped doing 100% of certain players.
Yep, definitely.
Other side of that Charlotte game, Cleveland, they're actually protected for more ownership than I would have expected. But remember, we don't mind playing players from the team doing the blowing out. This is the largest spread we've seen this season, right? 17 and a half.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty close to it.
And so, I mean, Donovan Mitchell, 8,400. The price has been good, but he has not had that ceiling that we expect from Donovan Mitchell recently.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty hard to get there. I haven't really got there on this slate, but I'm fine with that.
It's a short slate. Really good matchup for Donovan. Maybe today he decides he wants to go off. So I think we can definitely take shots. He's only projected for 12 and 16%. We can just be with the field, and that's probably enough. Evan Mobley, double-digit OF index. We like Mark Williams is back in the rotation, so we like centers against Charlotte because he's terrible on defense for some reason. But him and Jared Allen to me are pretty appealing, and I really like Jared Allen's ownership at that discounted price on DraftKings. It's pretty high risk. Minutes could be definitely cut short, but if he happens to play this 29 or get a couple more if the game stays closer, I don't mind this as a high risk GPP play.
Yeah, I don't mind Allen at all. I'm getting a couple percent. I probably need to bump him a little bit, but I'm getting to quite a bit of Mobley. I'm trying to bring him down just a little, just pretty large spread, but I'm still fine getting to Mobley.
Yeah, I was originally getting a lot more Mobley. I had to bump Jared Allen up a little bit. I didn't necessarily bump Mobley down, so I'm still getting a decent amount of him. And then Darius Garland, a guy that we love to hate. I'm with the field, and I'm okay with that. I'm pretty neutral on him right now.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at as well.
Yeah, maybe lean towards even getting under the field just given the spread. Anything from the backups? Dean Wade, Karis LeVert, Max Struess.
Yeah, I actually have. Let me see. I have Jerome and Levert bumped a little bit. Just they get pretty good minutes either way, and plus, if they run into blowout run, then I think they're pretty good tournament options.
Yeah, so Struess coming back takes away a couple minutes from the other backups. I mean, it kind of made Ty Jerome forgotten a bit, but like Cindy said, 14-minute projected. I mean, if he gets the fourth quarter, 3,200 on DraftKings at no ownership could be like the whole slate right there.
Yeah,
I'll mention Sam Merrill is still out and Isaac Okoro is still out. Go ahead.
last I don't think it was last night. It was the night before when the Cavs played that Todd Jerome was in the winning lineup. And it was a blowout.
And I bet he was what 1% owned, not even.
Yeah, I don't think he was even that.
So this is like this whole team basically, and Charlotte too. Is if you're playing these guys, you're going beyond the model. Everyone's minutes are projected as if they're not going to play the fourth quarter. But like looking at the starters' minutes, don't the backups' minutes seem kind of low? If we only think the starters are going to play around 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think too. And then so there's definitely a possibility they can get more.
And maybe this adds up closer to 240 than I thought at first glance. But either way, I think I'd be more interested in actually getting to some of these backups here. But the contests are kind of small today, so it's not as appealing as maybe it normally would be.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, New England, dude, they got the fourth pick. How did they mess that up that bad? It's absolutely hilarious, man. Now Shader Sanders is going to go to the Titans, and I'm so ready for it, whether he's good or bad. Champagne, he's a core play. I like Champagne. Yeah, I was looking at him. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
the
get him
Raiders didn't help
again.
themselves either, man. They just kept winning.
The Raiders, well, is a Shader. They're not getting Shader anymore. They have to trade
Nah,
up.
I'm kind of cool with that.
Yeah, I probably would be too, but it would have been fun, right?
Yeah, Sam Merrill was just ruled out since we were talking about the Cavs.
Okay, I already had him out, so maybe my stuff was not correct here. But either way, Gabe Vincent got ruled out for the Lakers too. Good. Let me see here. Washington Pelicans are the other first game. We'll talk about Washington since Champagne was brought up. Champagne's core. Who got ruled out for Washington?
Jordan Poole's out, and what's his name? Koulibaly's out.
Okay, nice. So, yeah, Washington probably not as much ownership as they. I should say the ownership seems a little bit low. I'm looking at my run right now, and yeah, Champagne is my highest exposed here. Are you getting there?
Yeah, I have a ton of them.
What about these other guys? I like Jonas as I'm always going to like Jonas as a GPP play, no matter what the model says. But the model does think he's pretty decent value. Thinks this whole team is decent value. I mean, they're missing two key players, Poole and Koulibaly. That's a lot of minutes to go around. What else are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm getting to quite a bit of Kuzma on both sides, assuming he starts again. We have him for 30 minutes. If he happens to get to 32 minutes at his prices, I think he looks pretty solid. Pretty good matchup. And then Brogdon, I'm getting two more on FanDuel. I'm fine getting there on either side, though. I think he's a pretty decent play. And Joval, I think Joval's a good tournament play once again. And then Carrington, his minutes are pretty secure. Pretty good price tag on both sides. So I'm pretty interested in getting overweight on this Washington team.
Yeah, I mean, Carrington projected for 33 and a half minutes is pretty strong. 4,700. Maybe that's the appropriate price for him, but 11% still feels a little bit light on the ownership. I mean, I feel like I'd rather save the 1,200 and go to Carrington over Brogdon. We kind of thought Brogdon was going to give us that ceiling, but he's projected for 30 minutes today. I don't know if he even plays 30 minutes.
No, that seems like a stretch.
Like he's played 30 minutes a couple times in the last couple of weeks, but that's a very aggressive minutes projection. I don't know that I'm going to get to much Brogdon. Maybe a few percent as a like a tournament mix in.
Yeah, I would prefer that route.
I will say, even though his minutes are probably over projected, if he does end up playing the 30, I mean, he has shown us that 37, 39 point ceiling, which would be enough for today.
Yeah, definitely. But overall, I think Champagne's my favorite play on this team.
Yeah, I like getting there. I mean, like I said, everyone on this team is projected as good value, so we can get to a lot of pieces here. I mean, they're all double digit ownership, but I wouldn't mind being at least with the field on all of these guys, actually.
Yeah. And then Keyshawn George as well. We have him for 25 minutes at 3,600, 3,900. I think he looks like a pretty good GPP play.
I love mixing in him, yeah, in these kind of situations when someone's out. What about Corey Kispert?
Yeah, I don't mind going there either.
And then Alexander Sar just ranks out as the lowest value on this team. I'd like to say we can still take GPP shots on him, but the price is kind of up. 10%, 13% ownership. It's not a lot, but it's not like super low owned either. So if I end up with zero, I think I'll be okay with that. Model's telling us it's fine to avoid him.
Yep.
This game starts 30 minutes after lock, Orlando and Utah. Jalen Suggs is out. Oh, did something happen?
We missed New Orleans.
New Orleans. Oh, the other side of the Washington game. Good call. Yeah, and there's a couple things to like here. Sorry, I forgot about that, but go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
All right. Put me on the spot here. Well,
I can if you want.
I mean, I'll say CJ dropped 50 last time. DeJounte was fine. Trey Murphy still had a good game despite CJ dropping 50. These guys are all pulling ownership. I don't mind it. I feel pretty neutral on it though.
Yeah, I'm getting to quite a bit of them just because I'm getting to so much Washington. I like getting to some of these Pelicans. I'm getting to more on FanDuel than I am DraftKings. Like DraftKings, it's mainly Trey Murphy and CJ for me, mixing in some DeJounte and Misi and Brandon Boston. But FanDuel, I'm getting to DeJounte, CJ. It's pretty much the same guys, but I'm also getting to some Herbert Jones, and I'm fine with all of those.
Nice. You said you're getting to Misi.
Yeah, yeah, I'm about with the field on FanDuel with Misi.
We don't mind playing centers against Washington. He's been playing really strong minutes on a 5 gamer. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
Sorting by value, yeah, he's the top value on his team, followed by Brandon Boston at 2%, 3,200. Were you considering him?
Yeah, I'm getting to Brandon Boston more so on DraftKings, but FanDuel, he's pretty much a long shot. Like, I don't think contests are really big enough to play him at 4,600.
I'm gonna agree there, and I'm only playing on DraftKings today. I know I've been only playing on FanDuel recently, but had a few losing nights in a row, so switching it up. We have Herbert Jones here projected for double-digit ownership. To me, he's just one of those guys. Like he's in there. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I'm trying to get away from Herb because I have so many of the other Pelicans that he's kind of the one I want to get away from.
It's like I was about to say, I probably don't mind him on FanDuel, but he is pulling more ownership there. Just the steal potential is probably pretty high against his team, but the model is not even really identifying that. Very poor OF index, bad value. So if you want to get away from Herb Jones a little bit, it's probably okay. But I'm with Smitty on getting to these other top guys, even Brandon Boston.
Yep.
Kuzma's way too cheap on FanDuel if he starts. Tice could get a minutes bump because of Jovel on the other side. Interesting. Daniel Tice, 3,100 on DraftKings. Takes up a center spot, but he is basically the min price projected for 0% ownership. This is another spot that you'd be going beyond the model in his 14 minutes if you're playing him. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't hate it at all.
And I agree, Kuzma's too cheap. The problem is Kuzma's been so bad recently, but model's telling us to play him, so projected for 30 minutes. Hopefully he gets a couple more.
Yeah.
LOL, people are going to play Anthony. I'm probably going to be one of those people.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, looking at
Assuming he
Orlando.
starts.
Yeah, assuming he starts, and then we didn't get an update on Anthony Black yet.
He's available.
Okay, so Anthony Black's available. All right, yeah. What do we do with Black versus Cole Anthony, depending who starts? I guess.
I think they're both pretty good plays. One's going to be backing up the other. They might even get some minutes alongside each other. So I think they're both pretty good plays. On FanDuel, I'm getting to quite a bit of both, with more going to Cole Anthony. And DraftKings, I'm getting to Cole Anthony a lot more than Black. But I think they're pretty interesting on DraftKings as well.
Just real quick, JB's asking to clear up the clarity. Is it our sound that's bad? Is anyone else having issues with that? Let us know in the chat, please. What I will point out too is Cole Anthony 8.4 OF index at his price is crazy. Even at the ownership, the model's telling us he's one of the best plays on the slate. Strong value. Anthony Black 3.6 OF index projected for similar minutes. The model saying it's not even close. But even then, the ownership difference, we can still consider that pivot. And then would you play? You'd play both of them in the same lineup?
On FanDuel, DraftKings, I'm not really getting them in the same lineup, but FanDuel, for some reason, I am. I guess maybe the point guard, shooting guard eligibility for both of them.
Okay. I mean, Corey Joseph is sitting here. I feel like I should just say his name, but is there anything there? Or Caleb Houston, I guess.
I guess it depends on the starting lineup. Like if they start Black and Cole together, then Corey Joseph probably comes more into play. He might run the backup point.
I like that, actually. It's a good point. I'll mention KCP as well, still under 5K. Really strong DK value, actually the highest DK value on this team. Would you consider him as a pivot off of Cole Anthony, or would you just play him alongside of him?
I'd probably just play him alongside of him because you're hoping the game's competitive if you're playing KCP, which it should be.
We sound like we're in a cave. I'm going to watch this back on replay because I haven't been watching the last couple slates, but usually the sound's okay. But thanks for letting us know, guys. Tristan Da Silva was pretty good for you the other day. 14 and 11%. How do we feel about that? 33 minutes.
Yeah, I'm getting to a little bit on both sides. Not really a priority play, but someone you can mix in.
Okay. Lakers Houston next game up. Start with my Lakers. We look good. We're winning games. Dorian Finney-Smith isn't really contributing on the stat sheet, but he's definitely making an impact with his defense. Starting by OF index, Anthony Davis, pretty strong. LeBron James, not as strong as he has been, and his price came up a couple $100. Austin Reeves, only an 8.6 OF index, actually feels kind of low for him, but his ownership is back down again too. So let's start with just these top three studs. What are you doing with these guys? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry. So to me, I think Austin Reeves is the most appealing, especially on DraftKings. I think he looks really good at 7,200. FanDuel, I'm getting a little over the field. I still think he's a good play there, but I prefer him on DraftKings. And then otherwise on FanDuel, I'm getting to a little bit of LeBron. And then DraftKings, it's mainly AD. I'm not really getting to LeBron.
On DraftKings, I actually have more LeBron right now, but that might change. I didn't bump Anthony Davis like I usually do, so I'm sure I'm going to end up with more AD. Plus, there were a couple of the other mid-range centers I liked. I just zoomed in on the model, guys. A couple of people said it's a little grainy. Let me know if that's better. Did we skip Utah? Did I skip another team, dude? I did skip another team. Let's finish up Lakers, and we'll jump back. Sorry about that, guys. Just Sunday's usually the busiest day for me. Caught me on the first one. Can't expect you to babysit me the whole time. Max Christie at 42 and 4,300. Oh, this is going to work with the ownership. I don't know if that's weird for you guys. Let me know if that doesn't work. I'll change it back. But were you getting to anyone on the bench? Sorry, I missed what you said.
No, not really. It's mainly just the main three guys for me. But if you wanted to mix some of them in, I don't care. Like Max Christie would probably be my favorite option.
Yeah, I agree with that. On the main slate, I don't think I'll even get there much. But if you're playing, like, I'm sure they have a 2-game night slate for this or even a showdown for this game, then I'd probably take shots on Dalton Connect too. Patriots fired Jared Mayo already. That's awesome. All right, go back to Utah. You mentioned earlier you're getting a ton of Colin Sexton. This dude has a 10.0 OF index at 6,200 on both sites, only pulling 26 and 27% ownership. So is this one of the spots today?
Yeah, just no Keontae is pretty big, and no Clarkson as well. So there's a lot of minutes to go around, a lot of usage to go around. Sexton looks like the main beneficiary, and as much as I don't really like it, I'm getting to a lot of Colin Sexton on both sides.
Yeah, actually missed that John Collins got ruled out too. So Clarkson, Collins, Markin, and George all out. It's a lot of minutes to go around. These ownerships seem pretty low considering. And remember, like, no one's a stud on this team now, so we can kind of ignore the OF indexes a little bit. I will say Bryce Sensabaugh with a 7.8 at 3,300 is kind of ridiculous. Even Johnny Juzang looks good, 6.7 at 3,400. Uh, these guys feel even a little bit underowned. Bryce Sensabaugh is one of my highest owned players right now on DraftKings.
Yeah, me too. I have 45% of them. Feel pretty good about that. FanDuel, I'm still getting to a little bit of them as well. I have 13% there.
It's like this team is giving us three near min price values, and that's not even including no, and four min price values because Svi is also in here, and then Isaiah Collier. So, what do you think the starting lineup's going to be?
Yeah, I think that's a mystery. Like, Sexton and Kessler are locked in. Sensaball's probably locked in. And then Collier probably draws a start. And then after that, I mean, they might go probably Juzang or Svi, I would guess.
I would think Svi over Juzang, but I think that's just because did they start Juzang alongside Svi last time when Potter randomly DNP'd?
I believe so, yeah.
And I'll mention Micah Potter. So last time this we were in kind of a similar situation. I didn't think we had this many players out, but I thought Potter was going to start. I played a ton of him. He was going to be low owned, and then he ended up not even playing. And so if Potter ends up starting, I don't have him in right now. I'm not going to do that today, but if we get that news he ends up starting, we should have enough roster spots to easily swap him in. We're going to have the other value from this team. So it actually should be pretty easy to just swap to whoever's in the starting lineup since they're all around 3K. Potter could go overlooked, though. If he ends up starting, it's Sunday. People aren't going to swap.
Yeah, I agree. This whole team looks really appealing. Just make sure you're watching for the starting lineup because they kind of just hit random generate. Filipowski is also pretty interesting, even if he just gets a backup five, but I would expect him to get some minutes at the four as well. And he's basically min price on DraftKings, 3,900 on FanDuel. I think he looks like a pretty good GPP play.
Yeah, on basically any other day, Filipowski 7.5 OF index at 3,100 projected for under 10% ownership. Even though he's center only on DraftKings, like this would be one of the top plays that we want to target. But I'm not even really getting much on DraftKings, just given all the other value we have on the slate. But this is a pretty strong pivot. And then if these ownerships hold, assuming whoever starts, they're also going to be really strong pivots. I guess after that, it's just a matter of finding who to pay up for.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, dude, got fired because they won. Like, he was supposed to lose. His job today was to not win the game. That's all he had to do.
I'm hoping the Raiders don't follow suit.
How many minutes for Juzang? 28. Do you think that's a fair projection? It's kind of
Yeah,
high. It might be
let's go
high,
with
but
that.
we just don't know where the minutes are going. I don't know that we've had this many players out for the Jazz, so
See, I don't have Juzang starting, so I have him for 23 minutes.
okay. Yeah, I'm lower on the 28 as well.
But I think the variance of it is pretty large.
Yeah, I mean, projecting a guy for 28 minutes who hasn't played 28 minutes in a single game in his career is pretty wild. So, no matter what, that's probably slightly aggressive, even if he starts.
Yep.
But we don't need 28 minutes from him to be a good play at his price. So, Pierce getting fired next. Nice.
No.
Yeah, Potter smashed that one time. You're absolutely right. And we've been chasing that since. But in this situation, I mean, someone brought up yesterday certain players are scoring dependent. The way that Potter scores his fantasy points, if he's on the court, he's scoring fantasy points. So if he starts, I'm going to assume he's playing good minutes and just that he's going to be lower owned than the other guys.
Yeah, he's a producer, man. I was trying to pull it up real quick. He's like a .8 fantasy point per minute, but still, he's pretty good at his price.
Would you play Allen and Mobley together on FanDuel?
No, I wouldn't.
I was playing around with it earlier on DraftKings, and I ended up not doing it. But
Unless you wanted to, like, if you did that, I'd probably play LaMelo on the other side, but I'd rather just have, like, one of the guards and one of the bigs for Cleveland.
I agree. Vrabel to the Pats by the end of the week. That'd be fun. You're seeing enough value in the mid range to not need room for more than one 3K roster spot. Yeah, I can see that too. I mean, it's kind of evidenced by the ownerships on these guys too. So it's just a matter of, I guess, figuring out who to pay down for and who to pay up for.
Yeah, there's just not a ton of like hot. Well, like we don't have a Jokic or a Wimby or something like that to pay up for, so makes it a little different.
Let's save Golden State for last and talk about Sacramento, who does have some players we can pay up for. I think probably the best pay up on the slate, Demantis Sabonis. His price seems incorrect at 9K and 9,400, pulling very heavy ownership on both sites. Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan also pulling big ownership. There's no De'Aaron Fox. And so, yeah, do you agree with the ownership on these three studs?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm under the field on DeRozan, but I'm getting to a lot of Monk and Sabonis. No Fox. I expect Monk to have a pretty good handling role. I think he looks good, and then Keon Ellis as a cheap value play on DraftKings, I think looks pretty good as well.
Yeah, actually getting a decent amount of Keon Ellis and, looking at the Utah value, I'd say they're decently comparable. I mean, the model's telling us that Keon Ellis is actually better than everyone but Bryce Sensabaugh, but these guys are all so close together, and with the minutes volatility, I don't think you should look at it as like, oh, the model has Keon Ellis above these guys. He's the stronger play. They're all very similar, and this, like for Utah at least, it depends who starts. At least Keon Ellis, we're pretty confident he's starting tonight.
Yeah, yeah, and then Sabonis. I know you mentioned him, but he looks like one of the best plays on the slate. DraftKings, I'm around the field, but FanDuel, I'm getting over the field there. Just the power forward eligibility helps a lot.
On DraftKings, I'm going to have to set a cap because I'm getting 98% if I don't put in any kind of rules on him. So over the field on Malik Monk too, but not quite as extreme as Sabonis. Keegan Murray's back. He might be forgotten a little bit, but he's the third best value on this team, better points per dollar than Sabonis and DeMar. It's a completely different price point, but at his ownership, he's probably worth mixing in.
Yeah, I agree. I was getting to a lot of them at first, and then as we got this value, it's kind of went down. So I still think he's a pretty good GPP play.
And then at the bottom here, I mean, Trey Lyles, 3,700 seems fine on DraftKings as a like a pivot, I guess, off the other guys. FanDuel, 4,700 power forward's tough, so I don't hate it. And if you have him in your lineup at lock, it does save that spot. You can easily swap to whoever starts in Utah. And then Kevin Werder, maybe he helps as a backup point. I mean, is Devin Carter going to get real minutes tonight? We haven't projected for 14, or does Kevin Werder just play a little more than the 20 we haven't projected for?
I think Herder gets a little bit more minutes than he's projected for. I have him bumped in my stuff. I think he's a pretty good GPP play, someone I want to take at least get a few percent of more than the field. And then Devin Carter, I'm not really sure he's in play tonight. It might come eventually, but if you wanted to sprinkle him in, I don't hate it.
And so, like I mentioned, we don't have that. We have pay-ups, but we don't have that many pay-ups. I just want to point out again, Malik Monk, double-digit OF index, really strong value. I mean, this is a guy who can give us the raw points that we need because we have all the value to play whoever we want. At this point, we kind of just need that ceiling. Malik Monk at under 30% ownership with no De'Aaron Fox projected for 35 minutes. It just seems a little bit under-owned.
Yeah, that's my main point on Sacramento. I have 39% of him on both sites, and I'd like to get a little bit more.
Yeah, I imagine by the time I'm done tweaking this, him and Sabonis are going to be two of my higher exposed guys. And then let's talk about DeMar for a second because I feel like DeMar is just not appealing. But 9.5 OF index value score is not great points per dollar, even though he's only 7K at 31 and 43% ownership. I guess I'm currently above that on DraftKings, but how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I currently have 20% on DraftKings. FanDuel, I have 43. I'd like to get a little bit under that mark.
All right, I'm going to pull up the Sacramento usage numbers, but let's talk about Golden State while that loads. So Steph Curry, he's off the injury report, so he's playing tonight, right?
Yeah, he's in.
Kuminga got hurt last night. Did he already get ruled out? He's not playing tonight either way.
He's going to be out for a little while, they said.
Hate to see it, dude. Finally doing what they hoped he would do, and then this happens. But let's start at the top. Steph, 22% ownership. Pretty good price, projected for 33 minutes against Sacramento, sans De'Aaron Fox in a close game. Do you like getting there?
Yeah, I thought it seemed aggressive at first, but I'm getting to him on DraftKings about with the field. FanDuel, I'm not really there. Just prefer other guards in that price range, but DraftKings, I think he's a better play.
Let's see what I have. Yeah, I'm getting there on DraftKings above the field. The thing is, like those values we're talking about from Utah, I don't think any of them play the point guard position. I guess Collier, but he's not one of the priorities. So point guard's a position that we can easily pay up for today.
Yep.
Draymond and Wiggins are the next two guys I'm getting. Not getting as much TJD though. What do you want to do with those guys?
Yeah, I'm getting to Wiggins mainly on DraftKings. Think he looks better there, and then TJD. I'm over the field actually, but not really a play I'm huge on or under on. Just I'm fine with getting what I get there, but I think Draymond looks like a good play too.
Yeah, Draymond, he's a good play. 8.2 OF index at his price is strong. TJD, 8.4 at his price is even stronger. And then Andrew Wiggins, 5,600 on DraftKings, 8.6 OF index, very good value. I think we can get to all of these guys. TJD, the problem is the minutes volatility, but if he plays the minutes, then he's under owned. So I'm willing to take that risk and play him more than the field.
Yeah, I agree.
Someone pointed out Kyle Anderson was a min price earlier. He's 3K, projected for 17 minutes, 3% and 2% ownership. Is that a spot you're considering? Model's telling us he's a strong value.
I actually have 3% on DraftKings, 2% on FanDuel, so I'm with the field on that. It's not someone I'm going to bump up, but I'm fine if he slips into a lineup.
Yeah, and especially, going into lock, if I end up with a few percent, don't hate it because I can always swap off of it to the Utah guys right after those first games start.
Yep.
Something with the usage. Dennis Schroeder, 54 and 6,200. No one's playing him tonight. He did pretty well last night without Steph. I think he's actually probably worth more than the 11%. There's no Kuminga. There's a little bit more usage to go around. He's been pretty bad for Golden State, but this seems like a tournament spot that I don't mind taking.
Yeah, I don't mind taking a few shots.
Buddy Hield, everyone hates this dude after last night. He didn't fail, but he didn't really help us with anything more than his low salary, projected for 1% ownership. If he actually plays the 21 minutes, the 1% is incorrect. Are you going back at all?
I don't right now, but someone I wouldn't mind having more than 1% of.
Just to do the full due diligence here, Lindy Waters and Moses Moody, would you consider them on the showdown slate?
Yeah, I would prefer Moses, but either one of them are fine on showdown.
Moody was pretty disappointing last night. I thought he'd get some extra minutes, but he did not.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Sacramento real quick because I think this is kind of important. With De'Aaron Fox off the court this season, the Mantis Sabonis 25% usage rate, actually slightly lower than I would have expected. Remember, 20% is league average, 30% is considered elite. So 25% is fine, though. I mean, he's 9K, and we know who Sabonis is. Keon Ellis, 13% usage, very poor, but we're kind of just hoping he hits some threes and gets some stocks. Malik Monk, 24% usage, actually still lower than I would have expected with De'Aaron Fox off the court. But DeMar DeRozan, 30% usage in over 200 minutes. So he actually has the highest usage by a pretty decent margin with Fox off the court. Does that change your opinion on him hearing that?
I guess so. How many minutes did you say it's in?
Over 200 spread over 30 games.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I could leave him as is.
Yeah, it's not a huge sample, but it's a meaningful enough sample that we can use it. I will mention that his true shooting percentage is over 10% lower than all those other guys I mentioned, so the efficiency is terrible, which is something that we probably expect from DeMar, which is probably why, without even looking at the model or anything, we're going to feel down on him for fantasy purposes. But the data is the data, and he takes up more possessions than anyone else, even more than Sabonis with no D Fox. So,
And we didn't touch on Houston yet.
did I skip another game, dude?
Yeah, well, it was after the Lakers.
Oh man, fun Sunday. I think this is a good omen for a strong slate that we're all about to have here.
Yep.
But yeah, Houston, I mean, we got a couple more one more pay up in Alper and Sengun, a couple more mid-range guys. On DraftKings, no one's really pulling heavy ownership. Sengun, 15%, Amon Thompson, 11%. What do you think about Houston?
I'm way over on Amin Thompson. I think he's a really good play on both sides, specifically DraftKings, where he's 10%. I think he looks really good at shooting guard, small forward. He wasn't hurt. He's just coming back from knocking Tyler Hero down. So I think he's a good play. And then I'm also getting to some Sengun. And then I think Jalen Green and Fred Van Vliet are both good GPP plays.
Yep. Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet actually both 10.3 OF index. Jalen Green cheaper, showing up as a top value on this team. I mean, we say it every day. If he just averaged 20 real points, this is definitely too cheap for him. He almost gets there a lot of days, and he's not even scoring real points. So at this ownership, we want to take shots. And I love my Lakers, but I do like targeting fantasy players against them.
Yep.
Dylan Brooks, 2 and 3%, dude. I can't believe this. Like, this is a narrative I'm absolutely willing to buy into. I've said it before. This is actually a real stat. He is the best defensive player on All-Stars in the NBA over the last 2 seasons. I think last year we had a game where he locked LeBron up the first time they met, and then the second time they met, Bron, ate his lunch. But he's going to be on the court. He's projected for 35 minutes. I think he's a little bit too low owned, even though we have all the other much cheaper value on the slate.
Yeah, no Jabari, I think, only helps him. So I think he's a really good play at 2 and 3% ownership.
Because it's like we're not playing Dylan Brooks to get 25 to 30 fantasy points. I'm playing Dylan Brooks for the games that he plays 37 minutes and puts up close to 40, right?
Yep.
Any interest in Cam Whitmore at 1% up to 4,400 on DK?
A little bit. The prices came up. Eason's out, but they did lose Jabari, even though they got Almond back. So, his minutes are probably back to. I have him for 21 minutes. I feel, and we have him for 22. So anywhere in that range is probably fine. If he hits his ceiling, I think he's okay.
And did you mention where you were on Almond Thompson?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of Almond Thompson.
Okay, nice. How much are we talking? Because he's projected for 11 and 23%, and just given the way lineup construction works, I think that's fine on both sides, if not slightly low.
Yeah, I have 35% on DraftKings.
Okay.
FanDuel, I have 60.
All right, you have you have more than I do. I'm gonna bump him up now, though, based on Smitty's endorsement for sure. Douche, Max 1, Keon Ellis, and Devin Carter. I could see that. I don't even think I'm going to get Devin Carter in my exposures, though, so I'm not worried about it. Smitty, who do you like better, though, just in a vacuum? Monk or, I guess for this slate, Monk or DeRozan?
Monk.
I agree.
Although I do not like Monk.
You don't like Monk?
I mean, I do for fantasy purposes. I don't like what he did in college.
Oh, my man. What'd he do?
Well, he's supposed to come to Arkansas, but he didn't.
I was going to say, he didn't win a championship, I don't think, did he?
No, he ended up going to Kentucky.
Why doesn't TJD's price increase? Because every third game, Steve Kerr decides to bench him. So if you're willing to take the risk, I mean, if you play him every slate, you're probably ahead on playing him. So it's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Lyles as last man in for value. I like it better if it's in the utility. Since it's last game, I keep mentioning it, but if we get a weird Utah starting lineup, it's pretty easy to swap off him. So I don't hate it. What would you think about having Trey Lyles in the lineup when that game starts, Smitty?
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. Golden State plays fairly big, so it's possible Trey Lyles runs into a few more minutes.
Daniel, did you miss Houston? No, I did. But Power's comment here is so funny, dude. It made me think of Drake. Did I miss Houston? Yeah. Hey, Mike, truly appreciate it. Yeah, we're a young show, but I think we're getting better, improving every day. So really appreciate the support. We're pretty much done talking about every team. Let's try and build a quick dummy and get out of here. Now, keep in mind, the dummy's tough because I'm pretty sure the top value plays are dependent on who starts for Utah. But we're going to do what we can and just swap out the similarly priced guys at the position. So I'm going to go ahead and throw Sabonis in, as he's my favorite play on DraftKings. Who do you want to throw in first?
Yeah, I would like to go with Colin Sexton.
Yep. Oh, man, it's Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton. Who's after him?
Champagne, probably.
Champagne, and then We're probably not going to get that Orlando start. Or no, Orlando's pretty good about giving us a starting lineup early.
Yeah,
Did we
they're really
even?
good.
Did we get it already?
I don't know. I know I've seen Washington.
We have Hornets and
What time
Wizards.
is it? The
Wizards are
Magic's isn't until 30 minutes after lock.
yeah.
But we'll
So
probably get it pretty soon.
Wizards are as expected. Hornets are as expected. Seth Curry got ruled out too. Not sure it affects much since LaMelo's in anyway, and we're not really looking at him for value.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Cole Anthony's probably needs to be our next man in.
I was going to say, this is assuming he starts. If he doesn't end up starting, there's way more than enough plays to swap off of. So this is not a problem to start with him in at lock. Like I'm going to have a ton of him. I'm pretty sure once that first game starts. If I have to swap off, it's fine.
Yeah, I have 68% right now. I'll probably end up with more.
I think so too.
And then Sensabaugh, probably.
Yeah, we're going to go with the top play in the model by value anyway. Bryce Sensabaugh leaves us 65.50. So, I mean, we can probably fit in one more stud and, one value, couple mid range, or we can go like full stars and scrubs and just play two super cheap values to try to fit in like AD and maybe a Jared Allen or something.
Yeah.
KCP. Yeah, I like mixing in KCP. And is De Silva worth a look? He's fine in theory. It's just there's so many other plays that are cheaper than him that project similarly that it's pretty tough unless you're playing De Silva for the ceiling, which he potentially has with the guys out, especially against this battered Utah team.
Yep.
This next guy for you, Smitty.
I would like to go either Monk or Almond. Probably Monk for this purpose.
Let's throw Sensabaugh at power forward. Power forward's looking like the like I didn't have an automatic answer for who to play at power forward, so could just play the value guy from Utah. And you said you wanted Monk?
Yeah.
Pretty cool that he has oh, never mind. He only has guard eligibility.
Almond has a small forward.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Almond at small forward. Nice. So, I mean, 6,300 for a forward and utility. You can go a lot of ways here. I mean,
yeah, you could play Kuzma.
It's like, yeah, I mean, you could play Kuzma and still have enough for like another real NBA player. 6,900 gives us probably have to move something around, or you'd leave a few hundred. Maybe upgrade one of these guys, or you can do something cool like take the super risk. Let's plug in like Svi at forward, leaves us 9,700, gives us LaMelo. I mean, that's a pretty. I'll take that Svi and LaMelo, the ceiling there.
Yeah, I like that.
So something like that. A lot of different lineup constructions. Do you feel like the field is going to lean into stars and scrubs, or do you think they'll be implementing these mid range guys like they?
I think they're going to be more stars and scrubs.
Yep, and so I don't hate it going the stars and scrubs, but I've been talking all slate. There really aren't that many top studs on the slate. We have AD, Sabonis, LaMelo, I guess LeBron, and then these other guys are kind of in that second tier of studs. So playing some more mid-range guys could be a little bit of easy leverage today.
Yep.
If Cole and Black start, De Silva could handle. It's possible. And Kyle Anderson, we said he's fine as a mix-in again. If he ends up in your lineup at lock and someone starts for Utah that the model like really turns on to, it's easy to swap. So anything else you want to mention before we get out of here, Smitty?
No, I think we're good.
Hey, really appreciate you guys tuning in on this Sunday. DFS Jayhawk is about to start the Discord Q&A session, probably right now. Instructions to join that are in the description below. Just another few minutes talking through the slate using the model, a little bit more intimate than the stream. And then if you want access to the model after lock, which is very important on days like today, especially where we're going to want a late swap, you can sign up for Occupy Fantasy. Plans start as little as $1 a day, gets you access to all the sports that we offer and the daily plugs. PGA just started up, so it's going to be another one too. But we'll see you guys back tomorrow. Appreciate you and good luck today.